No, I haven't a clue how to really play this piano, but I do have a question for you. When you think about worshiping at church, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Hopefully it isn't a boring sermon. If you thought of music, scripture, or even that sermon, then you are not alone. Hi, I'm Mother Diana, and this is Outward and Visible, a conversation on faith. This blog is an invitation into dialogue. I'll begin it, but you'll add to it. So let's talk about hearing. We take in the world around us through our senses, and in my past 2 VBlogs, we've engaged in a conversation on sight and touch. But it's our ears and what we hear, or perhaps more accurately, how we hear, that can impact us and those around us in surprising ways. Do an internet search on sound quality or characteristics, and you will find a variety of ways to describe what we hear. Loudness or amplitude, pitch or frequency. Is it too high or too low? Timbre or tone, location, where it seems to be originating, and much more. Within worship, all of these are part of the experience, but of these, I want to talk about tone and location. If you're attending a worship service in Lent or Advent, the music, be it the hymns or choral pieces, will have a more softer and tempered tone. This matches the liturgical season and helps to set the mood for where we are spiritually within the larger story of our faith. If you attend that same church at Christmas or Easter, All Saints or Pentecost, or really just about any other time, the tone will be more joyous and celebratory. Again, matching where we are in our liturgical calendar, which in turn is part of our faith journey. This is really no different than what we do at home, right? We may play one type of music to clean the house. For me, it is definitely 60s pop. Gotta get moving. And yet, we might change the music to light classical or jazz for a dinner with friends. We know what music lifts our souls and what sounds like scratching on a chalkboard. Sound has a way of doing that, transporting us or driving us nuts, depending on what we hear. And what that is depends on who we are. For some, Anglican choral works, the legacy of our faith tradition, inspire and warm the heart. Others will find gospel or contemporary Christian music does the same. In worship, there is more than just the music to fill our hearts. The most important sound we hear is the Word, in Scripture, in sermon, in prayer, and the most important aspect or characteristic of that sound is direction.
Every valley shall be lifted up, and every mountain and hill be made low. The uneven ground shall become...
Worship, as we've been discussing, is not a spectator sport. The words and the music don't move from one area to another like a concert. Of course, there are times when that does happen, the sermon or the choir anthem, for example. But it is also true, and a core part of the worship experience, that participation by everyone is key to the experience for everyone. Through congregational singing, call and response prayers of the people or psalms, and so on, our worship is a surround sound thing.
Hosanna in excelsis, Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in excelsis.
It's a dialogue of word and music. In fact, the Sursum Corda, Latin for hearts up, is an intentional dialogue that opens the Eucharist. It's a back and forth that begins with a greeting and then with an invitation. As always, what happens here is to prepare us for what happens outside these doors. Sound has the same qualities there too, and how we hear things, how we say things, can result in joy or pain, love or hate. We also need to be mindful of how we listen. Are we hearing the chords others are playing, or are we filtering out sounds we don't like, adding our own tone, or refusing to listen at all? Life is a dialogue with God and with one another. The music of life is the song of the universe, the melody of God's creation. Will we add our own harmonic voice, or will our offering be one of dissonance? Our answer will impact our own lives and the lives of those around us. So let's have a dialogue. I invite you to post your own video or photos of your thoughts in response to this blog, and particularly let us know which of the qualities of sounds in the liturgy move you the most, and how you imagine your contribution to the symphony of God's creation in the world will take shape. This concludes the Lenten series of Outward and Visible, but stay tuned for more in the days and weeks ahead. Until then, may God be with you.